Hey there, what's up today? Guess what? Today we're going to talk about something that we should talk about every once in a while. The basics of preparedness. So I know we've talked about this, but there was quite a while ago now, a few months. I've made a few notes here. I just want to make sure that we go over them so everybody's still thinking about it, so it's clear in our minds, because if we don't keep going over it, we'll forget. Hold on, so we'll be back there in a minute to do that. Hey, how you doing? Will here, Just in Time Prepping. As you saw in the intro, we're going to talk about some stuff just to kind of refresh everything so we know what's going on. You know, we have to keep putting it in our brains. We're going to be talking about how to be prepared, basically prepared anyway. I wrote some notes down, so you're going to see me looking down there because I'm kind of old. I have to write things down, otherwise I forget. So we're going to start by the necessities. Let's start with what we need as necessities to be prepared. One of the things that we're going to need are tarps. Now, they come in different sizes and shapes. We all know that. I mean, I'm not telling you that you're not smart or anything, but they come in different shapes and sizes, and we'll make sure that you have a few different ones, different sizes. Also, what you need are things like clothes, shoes, extra clothing, you know, different thicknesses, you know. As my dad always taught me, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. You can always take clothes off, but you can't always put them back on. So, clothes. Also, make sure that you have plenty of water. Water is the fountain of life. And then transportation. Now, your transportation is kind of tricky. I mean, when shit hits the fan, we all know that the gas stations and stuff like that, oh man, look at my heck. I'm not looking too healthy. We all know for transportation that the fuel, the gas stations and whatnot are going to go down. Hopefully everybody will have a backup supply. I'm not saying to have 1,000 gallons or anything, but you could have some stuff like 5-gallon cans put back and whatnot. If you don't have that, then your car's going to die. You're going to have to leave it sit. You can use the parts off of it for something. But you could also think about having a bicycle or maybe a quad or something like that. And then there's always animals. You could have mules or horses or such things as that, you know. So these are things that we need to think about, things to be prepared with. Another thing that we have to think about is food. Now, everybody on all these prepping channels tell you food, water, and shelter. So we all know that we're prepping food, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. We just know that we have to do it. Okay? Now, another thing that we have to be thinking about is our weaponry. We have to have some sort of weapons, right? Like, I've done some videos. I've showed you guys how to make your own bows out of PVC. I've shown you how to make melees by using a simple bat and a machete. I mean, there's things that you can have. There's knives, bats, bows, pistols, rifles, shotguns. Shotgun is basic home weaponry. I mean, you can put it back in the closet. You can always have it loaded. And the thing I do is I put it in there. And I don't have one in the chamber. On my pistol, I always carry one in the chamber because I carry concealed. Everybody that knows me knows I carry concealed. I carry one in the chamber. But in the shotgun, it's all the way full. I pull the plug out. I make sure I have as many shells in there as I can get. Because when you reach in there and grab it, you can always take it by that slide and just jerk it, and it pulls one up. So that's how I do mine. So those are all the basics of being prepared. Well, let's think about what we do after that. You know, I mean, the banks are going to be going down. You know, the ATMs, you're not going to be able to go just grab some money out of the bank and stuff. So we basically have to think about bartering. Now, everybody has their own thoughts on bartering. I mean, I watch other channels just like everybody else, but I also belong to some SHTF groups throughout social media too, so we talk that away. But here's the basic thing is that you should have gold and silver, and I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but gold and silver is going to be basically the money of the future until the grid gets up, they can start making the banks work again. So gold and silver would be a good thing to barter with. Another thing that would be good to barter with are tobacco products. Also, another good one would be booze. Booze would be a good thing. And a lot of people say ammo. You know, I'm not really big on the ammo thing because I think if you barter ammo, then what happens is they find out that you've got ammo, they're gonna come and just take it from you and then turn around and shoot you with it. So I'm not really big on ammo, but there are some people out there that are. So you do what you want on that. And then there's always, since you have a bow, you can make your own arrows. Arrows are simple. You can make them yourself. I mean, you're going to have a lot of time on your hands. So if you have a bow and you stock up on arrows, that's great. But those arrows are going to wear out or they're going to break or whatnot. So it may be a good idea just to think about learning how to make your own arrows. And there's several ways of doing that. You can buy books on it, or you can go watch YouTube videos or whatever. But, you know, those are things you might want to think about. Another good thing to think about is maybe having some medical supplies extra, you know. I mean, I'm really big on storing up on a lot of medical supplies. I mean, you just never know, not only for your family, but for your friends and relatives and stuff. They may need some too, but guess what? You can also use that stuff to barter with. I mean, a lot of people are not really going to be like us. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are not preppers. So, why not have some extra medical supplies that you can barter for things that you may need, you know? So think about that. I see, coffee, I've got down seeds. Seeds, coffee, and tea. Seeds are going to be important because we're not always going to be able to run to the store. Stores are going to be non-existent. We all know that. But also, they'll be good to barter with. Because, like I said, not everybody's preppers. Everybody's going to be out there scrounging for things. They may be willing to trade something that they have for something that you have. So seeds may be in on that. Then also coffee and tea. And they're saying coffee and tea are going to be a big one because that's like nicotine, or caffeine, caffeine, because that'd keep them going, you know. It's like a prep me up, you know. But a lot of these other channels and stuff I listen to are saying those 5-hour energy drinks. And I'm not really good I'm not sure, I haven't looked into it yet. But I'm not sure how long the shelf life is on those, but that may be something to think about. Another good thing to think about are seasonings. Seasonings, I think that you could probably use those for bartering. Also, maybe thinking about growing those, because if you grow them yourself, you'll have plenty of extra to barter with. So think about that. Salt is going to be a huge one. I mean, it's not good for you, but people don't care. You're going to have salt. So get you some salt. I buy mine in the bigger bags and stuff, and then I seal it up and I store it in 5-gallon buckets. So, because that's going to be a huge bartering chip right there. Same with pepper. Another good thing to think about are bouillon. You know, bouillon, throw the cube in there, whatnot, and guess what? Instant flavoring for things like ramen, stuff like that. It's another good thing to barter, maybe top ramen and stuff. Gravy, let me see. Gravy packets and the seasoning packets. I didn't think too much of those at first. Excuse me, I got to have a drink. I didn't think too much of those at first, but as I've been prepping and going along, those things are probably going to be pretty big. You know, I would think those would probably work pretty good. Especially the gravy. The gravy would probably be really good to store up on. So, you know, all these things are things that you need to think about, and we don't always think about them every day, and that's why I'm kind of going back on with this video and talking about things that sometimes we just forget about. You know, these are things that need to be talked about, so I'm reviewing what we've already talked about and trying to jog your memory. So here's another thing is fuel. Like I said before, the gas stations are going to be going down, and hopefully you have some stuff stored up, but if not, then you're going to be out there bartering for it. So you may want to think about storing 5-gallon containers of gas, diesel, gas, white gas, kerosene. Kerosene would be good, and then wood. I don't know where your location is, your geographical location or whatever, but maybe think about storing up wood to chop it up and keep some cords laying around. That would be another good thing to think about, just having around for being prepared. Now, I want to go into something else. This is pretty important to me because y'all know I have health issues, so this is a biggie for me, but we'll go just kind of touch it a little bit. And you should always have some medical supplies. I'm just going to move my notes over here a little closer. And the medical supplies, pretty big deal for me, you know, so we're going to run through them. Now, everybody should have a pretty decent medical bag because you can go out and you can buy those little first aid kits and whatnot. Now, those might be fine just to throw in the glove compartment of your car or truck or whatever, but when something seriously goes wrong, you're going to want a little bit more than that. So I would think about going and spending $100 or so on a medical bag. Actually, if you want to spend a little more, you could spend, I think I saw some $150-ish, and you could get a medical/trauma bag, and those would be really good. Those have everything that you might need in them. So we got that kind of covered. Let's talk about bandages. I mean, you want to make sure that you have plenty of bandages. They come in all different sizes and shapes, and you want to make sure that you collect a lot of them. I don't mean just a few, I mean a lot. Another thing is you may want to collect like puppy pads. You get those in the pet department, you know, that's where you train your dogs and cats and stuff on to go be house trained. So you could pick up some of those and put those in your first aid bag because those would make good dressings for large wounds. Another thing you want to think about is gauze. Gauze is going to be huge. I mean, you can get rolls and rolls and rolls of it. And most of the stuff you don't have to worry about. You can get most of it in a dollar store, a Dollar General. They have different kinds of economical stores out there where you can buy stuff fairly cheap and you can really stock up good on it. And these are things you want to think about. Stock up big on these things, because if you don't need them, guess what? You can barter them away. So another thing is allergy medicine. Allergy medicine is going to be another big one. People have allergies, and you know, like I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't going to be preppers, and they're not going to have the stuff that they take for granted every day. So allergy medicine would be a really good thing to have, and that way you'd be helping others, not just yourself, but also trade it away. It's a barter chip. Another thing is calamine lotion. You know, you're going to be roughing it, and you might be out around stuff that's not good for your skin and whatnot. So calamine lotion would be good. You can put it on, make sure that you're being taken care of. Also, how about something like Neosporin or an antibacterial ointment? You have that around. You make sure that you have plenty of it. And that makes sure that you, your family, your family is all taken care of. But it's a good bartering tool. So make sure you have plenty of that around. Also, petroleum jelly. Petroleum jelly is good. I mean, you can put it on a wound. It makes a great fire starter. So you know, it's worth a lot of stuff. And cotton balls. Cotton balls are really cheap. So, heck, get you a whole box of them, you know. Go out and get you a box and just start, every time you go to the Walmart or somewhere like that, Dollar General, dollar store, buy some cotton balls. When you get home, throw them in that box. I mean, they condense pretty good and they stay forever, so may want to think about that. And then you soak those cotton balls in Vaseline. Guess what? Poof, you've got a big fire. Excuse me. Another thing, a lot of people don't think about this is bug bite. Get bug bite repellent. And it doesn't have to be the aerosol. You can get the sticks. There's all kinds out there. Citronella candles, whatever. Throw them in a box. I mean, start thinking big, you know. Everybody buys these little bitty bags or little bitty stuff. They say, hey, I'm covered. You're not really covered because you're not thinking big enough. Start thinking big. Hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer comes in really handy. Not only to sanitize your hands, fire starter. I mean, it's a good fire starter as well, and make sure you have plenty of it on hand. That's another bartering tool. Then there's waterproof medical tape. That's that plastic stuff that the doctors put on you and stuff, and they sell it at dollar stores. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, if you go to the dollar store, go in there and spend $20 every other month, and pretty soon you've got your pretty good sized medical kit put together, you know. Bandages, gauze, cotton, Vaseline. I mean, you're starting to build a pretty big component there. Here's another thing to think about. Cough syrup. It's pretty inexpensive also. I mean, all the stuff, if you go out and you buy it all at one time, you're going to be spending a lot of money. But if you go out and you just spend a little bit at a time, you know, it's not going to take much, and you're going to have all this stuff stored up, and you're not going to be spending a lot of money, and it's not going to spend a lot of money at one time. Just go out and buy 1 or 2 bottles and throw them in a bin. You know, that's what you do. Ibuprofen is another biggie. It has an expiration date on it, but guess what? You put it in a bag and you suck the air out of it, and you seal it up, and the shelf life like quadruples on it. So another good thing right there. Also, it's a bartering chip. Airborne. I didn't think about this. I got this idea off of other channels and the groups I'm in. I mean, all these people have great ideas, and if you go and you watch the videos and you talk to these other people in groups, you get some pretty good ideas pretty fast, and doesn't take long and you're putting your stuff together. Then there's mucus expectorant, which clears your lungs, and during shit hits the fan, it could be an earthquake or a volcano or a flood or whatever, a war, and your lungs could be full of crap, and you may want to get that stuff out. So get you a mucus expectorant, and make sure you pile up on that. So, okay, finger splints and tongue suppressors, and that's what you really need to be doing. Get some of those put together. All these things I'm talking about is if you collect them in large quantities, they're all bartering chips. So, not only that, and you have a hell of a medical bag put together. So, that's all the stuff that you really need to think about. I have some more stuff here, and we could go into food, but I'm not going to do that today. But this is stuff that'll get you thinking. Go to the store, get the stuff that you need. Now, I want you guys to remember about the drawing we're going to have. When I get to 100 subscribers, we're going to pull one name out of a hat, and they're going to win a survival bucket worth $100, at least $100, maybe a little over. But so I want you guys to share my videos with your friends and get them to subscribe to the channel, because it's going to pay off. When we get to 100, we're going to have that big drawing. So think about that. And I want you guys to leave some comments down below also. If you haven't done so already, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscription button if you haven't done that either, because that's all stuff that's going to make us work together. You'll be able to get some good information from it, and you'll be able to make some friends along the way. You'll get some information. You'll be able to pass this information on to your friends. So that's all what I'm going to do for today, and I want you guys to know that I do this because we all need to know. Not only that, I do it because I love you guys. So until next time, I want you guys to know, God bless you, God bless me, and God bless the US of A. Next time.